your 8-step success guide to a best-selling business over the age of 40. And it is based on my own best-selling book, Unleashed, for which there is the free link, the free PDF download link, if you care to go and take a look and click on that. See if, or you can wait until the end of this talk and see if you like the contents. I'm going to talk about, just give you an overview of the contents of the book. There are 8 chapters in the book, and so there are 8 steps to this talk. All right then. So chapter 1 is identify the causes of your stress. All right, so I talk about, at the beginning of my book, I talk about the pain crisis that I went through, which led to the steps of me unleashing from my 9 till 5. So this pain crisis was brought on by stress and muscle tension caused in the deep fascia, which is tissue, deep tissue that runs around, in bands of tissue that run around your body, connecting things together. And so I was in a particular situation where I was ignoring my signals, my bodily signals, and I just kept going, believing that everything would right itself if I just ignored it. And there are reasons for those beliefs that I have in there. I don't know about you, but I got the messages when I was young that the NHS, I was brought up in England, and the doctors were very busy and they only had 6 or 7 minutes to spend on average with each patient that came in. So they were very strapped for time, and we were taught to go to the chemist. I guess you'd call it a pharmacy. We were taught to go to the chemist and get medications at the chemist to deal with colds and inflammations and fevers and things. And until our symptoms got very extreme, we should stay at home and rest and just take these over-the-counter medications. And so I was taught, I got the signals through this kind of culture that sometimes, and it's true, right? Sometimes you go to bed with aches and pains, and sometimes you wake up and they're gone. So I was under the impression that if I kept going to bed and waking up, that one day my pains would go, and they didn't, and they kept staying and they kept staying. And I guess because of the stress of my job, I was very focused on my job and that, and it kind of led me to ignore the pain that I was going through. So one day I woke up and my body was screaming at me and telling me that I can't ignore it anymore. And so that was my pain crisis. I got it sorted, and everything that I've done since then, the unleashing from my 9 till 5, the building of my business, the becoming a best-selling author, the teachings, have been in an effort for me not to go back to that state of pain, and for me to help others to not get into that position for themselves either. And I think that having been through that myself, I'm in the perfect position to help others to not get into that position as well. So chapter number 1, identify the causes of your stress. So I do name a few causes. Burnout itself is a cycle, like an addictive cycle of hormones and chemicals that are in the body. And addictive, I say, because just giving, for example, if you are a child and you're living in a high stress environment, your body becomes accustomed to a higher level of stress, which is uncomfortable, but it's your normal, right? The uncomfortable becomes your normal. So as an adult, you are always chasing the comfortable. it's the uncomfortable, which is normal. You're always chasing that. So it's this addictive cocktail, addictive in inverted commas, because you're always looking for that normal, for that baseline, right? Even though it's uncomfortable. So the actions that you take on a daily basis, the choices that you make are going to get you back to that level of normal, right? And as an adult, I think I looked at my life and I realized I didn't want this normal level of stress. I wanted, and it wasn't doing me any good. Yeah, you have to learn how to identify it and how to break out of that cycle of addiction to normal, right? And kind of break out of what seems like normal. All right. So, yes, the cycle of addiction to burnout, and then also hormones. As women over 40, our estrogen starts to drop over the age of 40, and this can impact the way our body reacts to cortisol or adrenaline. We say adrenaline in England, or cortisol in America. Our sex hormones, the progesterone and the estrogen, they affect the way that we interact with the stress hormone, which is adrenaline or cortisol. So when they all act together, so if estrogen starts to drop, that means that it affects the production and the usage of adrenaline. So they're all intertwined. So hormones can have an effect on your stress levels. If your sex hormones are going down, then your adrenaline is likely to rise. And as women over 40, we are more likely to be sensitive to adrenaline. We're more likely to be producing more because of the lack of other hormones. So we have to, we are already kind of in a situation where we're more likely to feel more stress over the age of 40. So this is one reason. Another one is pathogens and biofilms within the gut biome and in other areas of our body. If we are constantly fighting with or dealing with undiagnosed pathogens and biofilms, that can take up a lot of our adrenaline, a lot of the stress. It puts our body under stress, right? It puts the body under stress. It's constantly having to put out fires in our body, deal with stuff, and that can keep our adrenaline up as well. And then, of course, there's our choices, our life choices. And sometimes we make life choices and we think we have to stick with those choices for various reasons, and that can cause us stress. Also thinking that we made this choice, now we've made our bed, we have to lie in it, right? And that there's no way out. We feel trapped because of our choices. This can also cause us a lot of stress, especially if we're looking around, we're stressed. When we're stressed, we don't tend to recognize the scope of options available to us or choices available to us. But then we have to recognize that once we make a choice, we don't have to stick with it. Like, we can make a plan to reassess and to move in another direction. Right? It could be slow, it could be quick, but it is possible. We just have to make sure that we're completely aware of all the choices that are available to us. And I also talk about, later on in the book, I talk about dukkha, which is this Buddhist concept of all of life is pain, right? All of life is pain. So if all of life is pain, then we choose the pain in life that makes the most sense to us, that we can deal with the easiest, right? So choices are about choosing the pain that you want to go through, which one is easier to deal with, right? But yes, don't feel that you have to stick with something because of honor or because, like you feel beholden to it. There are certain responsibilities that come with making choices, changing choices, but taking responsibility in itself is something that we can reframe as well. Okay, if we feel that sticking with a choice is the responsible thing, but it's doing us damage, then is it really responsible? Yes, that's something that we need to do the deep work on, and that's another thing that I talk about in the book. All right, so that's chapter number 1. Chapter number 2, overcoming stress and prioritizing self-care. Now, this is a big deal, I think, especially for women over 40, for the reasons that I've already mentioned. Self-care was something that I didn't prioritize earlier on in my childhood, in my young adult life, and then it hit me like a ton of bricks that I needed to prioritize it, schedule it, and plan it, especially after this pain crisis. I wanted to make sure that I would never feel that stress, that tension again, consistently on a daily basis. And I had played around with different kinds of self-care before this. It's not like it was all new to me. It wasn't new to me. It's just that I had never consistently used it as a personal strategy, as a business strategy to stay resilient, to keep me going, to combat dukkha, right? To combat dukkha, which is that life is pain. So if life is just a series of obstacles, challenges, pain, and then why shouldn't we focus? It makes sense that we should focus on bringing ourselves pleasure and love and relaxation and ease and peace and calm, right? And focusing on those things is going to make life easier if it is pain, as the Buddhists say. All right, so that's chapter number 2. Chapter number 3, get clear on what you want out of life. Now, something that I've included in chapter 3, which I'm quite proud of, and I know will help all my readers and listeners and all of my community, there is an 18-page workbook included in chapter 3. And it is an 18-page workbook based on the Life Balance workbook by Kane Ramsey, and he was my life coaching teacher in my first life coaching program. Amazing man from Scotland. So proud that he was my first coach. And he had this amazing tool, and it was called the Life Balance Workbook, and it was something that I keep going back to over the years. And I thought, you know what, I'm going to create my own version. And I have included it in chapter 3. Okay, I truly believe that everybody should have a copy of this workbook. It's a tool that you can use again and again and again, something that can help you reassess your life, where you want to go, where you want to be, what kind of legacy you want to leave behind you. It just increases your awareness of where you are and where you want to be, who you want to be, right? It's an amazing resource. Go get it. All right. So that's chapter number 3, getting clear on what you want out of life, creating a meaningful vision and legacy. All right. Chapter number 4, enhancing out of the box thinking. All right. I love this chapter. This is about enhancing out of the box thinking. This is about lifelong learning. So there's the practical side and there's the spiritual side of this. The practical side is about lifelong learning, how you can fit it into your daily life, right? We have so much time that we can play with during the day. How are we going to allocate it and use it, right? Our time and energy. And if we allocate if we're going walk, for me, I really love when I'm walking to put in my earbuds and listen to something nourishing, whether it's affirmations, a book on Audible, a talk on YouTube, whatever it is that's nourishing, that's going to uplift me, inspire me, educate me, that is my time. So enhancing out of the box thinking is about continuing to learn, to open your mind, right? And on that note, I put in the second part, which is the spiritual side of things. Now, I've always had kind of like let me think of the word. I've always had a difficult relationship with religion, with spirituality, but as I'm getting older, I learn more about myself. And I think that now I have a deep respect for people who have religion. And actually, my own coach is very, very religious, and a lot of my peer coaches are religious, and I'm proud to call them my peers, to call them my friends, my colleagues. And so, and I learn from them, and when they talk about their religious experiences, their relationship with God, it's easy for me to translate it into something that's meaningful for me, how I understand it too, right? Through my own spiritual practice and my spiritual beliefs. So it's easier for me to accept than it was when I was younger. So yes, enhancing out of the box thinking, I think, boils down to your ability to be able to flirt with and accept new beliefs and thoughts that you were not open to before. And then when you are flirting, accepting, and not resistant to new beliefs and ideas, sometimes they penetrate and they can mix and synergize with other thoughts that are going on with your brain to produce something spectacular, inspiring, different. That's what the out of the box part is, right? When you process things in a way that only your brain can, when it's open and accepting new ideas, right? Innovation, out of the box thinking. All right, chapter 5, the pros and cons of entrepreneurship. Yes, for every up, there is a down. For every black, there is a white. Now, I went into entrepreneurship, and a lot of women over 40 and people that I know go into entrepreneurship because they're looking for more freedom and control over their time and their energy and their lives, the way that they want more freedom and control to spend their time and their energy the way that they want to, right? So these are the things that we're looking for, but it does come at a price. It does come at a price. So maybe you won't have the consistent paycheck. So maybe there is a lack of safety that comes with that, financial safety. Maybe because of the personal growth you're going through in your entrepreneurial journey, maybe you will leave some relationships behind, right? So yes, there are definitely some cons to the entrepreneurial journey, and this again is where dukkha comes in. You choose your pain, right? You choose it, and does the pro outweigh the con, right? And it's our perception. It's also our perception, and it's all mindset work. you know what? Like, I really think that the only difference between people who are unhappy and burnt out and stressed, the only difference between them and success, what we see as successful people, financially wealthy, happy entrepreneurs, CEOs, the only difference, honestly, is mindset. So much mindset work goes into building a successful business. Chapter 6, practical entrepreneurial strategies. In this chapter, I go through strategies to help you stay resilient, strategies that will benefit you during your entrepreneurial journey. I'm talking about being comfortable with change, being comfortable with experimenting, and enjoying the process, finding ways to have fun, stay happy, enjoy what you're doing every day, and also trusting the process. Just trusting that when you take the next step, it's getting you a step closer to your vision, to where you want to be, right? And then celebrating your progress. This is such a big deal. Celebrate the progress, right? When my book Unleashed came out, I celebrated every day. Beautiful meals, seeing friends. I did a KTV with a friend. To me, it was all celebration. Having fun and playing and chatting and eating and drinking and just, yes, having fun. Celebrate your progress. All right, now we're on to chapter 7. Do the deep work. Yes, find the parts that are holding you back and do the work to change them. And I'm not just talking about things in your environment, I'm talking about the stuff in your head. Do the deep work, and this might mean having to deal with some stuff that you haven't dealt with before, or maybe stuff that you've dealt with before but you didn't go deep enough. And this is the mindset work. This is the wealth mindset. This is confidence, working on self-esteem and confidence. This is money, dealing with which is connected with wealth, but also everybody has issues around how they see and view money. And then value. Personal value and personal worth are intertwined with self-confidence. These things, all of these things, you need to work on and figure out why things aren't working, why you're self-doubting, why you're procrastinating. Figure it all out. You've got to figure it all out and then find answers and reframe in the moment. Change them, accept them, deal with them, right? Do the deep work. It is ongoing. Chapter number 8, the last chapter, freedom through storytelling. Now, this is something that I teach on a lot. So actually, this chapter is the shortest chapter of my book. Freedom through storytelling. This is how you can use your story, your wisdom that you have gained as a woman over 40, as a person over 40, the wisdom you have gained throughout your life, through the obstacles you faced, the challenges you faced, the pain that you faced and overcome. It's about using this and sharing your story, whether it's through a book, which is what I teach and I've learned from my best-selling coach, Dr. Fred. It's about putting in a book. It's about sharing on social media. It's about blogging, podcasts, TV show, TV channel. It's freedom through telling your story. Kind of how I'm telling my story to you right now, and hopefully how you are getting a lot of value out of hearing my story, because this is the thing: when you tell your story, you are providing the solution to somebody's problem. There is somebody out there who looks at you and your life and wishes that they could be where you are right now, right? You are providing the solution to somebody by telling your story. I truly believe it. Share your story, tell your story. Within your wisdom is all the wealth you could ever want. So, write your story. There we are. There we are. This is what I wanted to deliver to you today. Wow, it's been exactly 30 minutes. Wow, awesome. This is it. This is the 8-step success guide to a best-selling business after 40. Do click on that link and download the free PDF of my book Unleashed. And I hope you enjoy it. Let me know what you think, and if you are inspired from this talk, from my book, join the free 5-day self-publishing challenge. You're at the end of those 5 days, you're going to see your book up there on Amazon, right? Publish your book now. Publish your first book now for free, right? Join me. Right? Unleash your story. Start building your business. Yes? Start building your best-selling business. If you want to know how, ask me. I'll share the link with you if you can't see it attached to this video. All right. Well, that's all I've got for you today. This is the last in this series of talks. I'm going to take a break and recoup over the summer. But I've got a lot planned for you, so don't worry. I'm always thinking of creative ways to help you guys to add value to the people in this group. All right. Have a wonderful day. Sending you lots of love and positive vibes. And don't forget, I'm Coach Caroline, and within your wisdom is all the wealth you could ever want. So, write your story. Bye-bye for now.